Hola amigos y bienvenidos a Son las 5 aquí. Or aquí son las 5. My Spanish-speaking friends who are more practiced than I am, please let me know. I think aquí son las 5. I think that sounds right. But anyways, it is Cinco de Mayo, which means we've got to do something and everything, all things agave. So today we are going to be doing a paloma, which is a traditional, very popular drink made with either tequila or mezcal. We're going to be doing mezcal today, which is the smokier, more broody cousin of tequila. Still 100% agave, but it comes from the Nahuatl word Mexicali, mezcal, and Mexicali means overcooked agave. That's where that smoky flavor comes from. People sometimes ask, well, what the heck can I do with mezcal? First off, you can do anything that you do tequila with. You can sub it out. You can also sub it in drinks like old fashions or, I haven't done a Manhattan, but you can certainly do that. You know, things that take a bourbon or whiskey, especially if they call for like an Islay Scotch, so like a penicillin, I bet you could do like a really good tequila and mezcal version. So let's get started. Now, paloma means dove. And so this is, honestly, I don't really know the whole origin of why it's called this, because the actual origins of the drink aren't 100% known. Now, we may not know exactly where it came from, but we do know who made it popular. And unfortunately, that was a gentleman that we lost about 2 months ago. And his name was Don Javier Delgado Corona, or Don Javier, as his friends knew him. He was 93 years old and he had La Capilla bar in Tequila, Mexico. He made this drink super, super popular. And thankfully his family is still running that bar today. And like I said, he passed away about 2 months ago in early March. And so this one's for you, Don Javier. So the first thing we're gonna do is in our shaker, because remember, we're gonna have a lot of citrus, so we're gonna make that emulsion. 2 ounces of mezcal or tequila. If you're doing tequila, that's fine. You don't need to make any changes. So 2 ounces of mezcal right into our shaker. And you know, the funny thing is actually about Cinco de Mayo is many people think that it's Mexican Independence Day. It is not. That is in September. And Mexican independence, actually, that holiday was started in the early 1800s in 1810 when the beginning of the Mexican fight for independence against the Spanish started. Now, Cinco de Mayo, that commemorates the victory of the Mexicans and the Mexican army over the battle at the Battle of Puebla against the French. So, like, as everybody knows, like the French, the Spanish, the English, they were all like, you know, muddling around all over the Americas throughout the 15, 16, 17, 1800s, all the way through the Spanish-American War in what was that, 1899, 1901-ish area under McKinley. Yeah, that's when, you know, we had that really important relationship with the Philippines that came from the Spanish-American War. But anyways, I digress. Let's go ahead and put some grapefruit juice in here. Now, grapefruit juice, this is traditionally made, the Paloma is traditionally made with a grapefruit soda. So you can do like a jarritos, you can do a fresca, you could do even that fancy one that San Pellegrino has, but it does have a lot of sugar in it. So does jarritos though. But I like fresh juice, right? So I'm gonna use soda water and fresh juice. So I'm gonna do 2.5 ounces of fresh juice, and I literally like just squeezed grapefruits. So you can also buy it, I don't care. So 2.5 ounces goes on top here. So the funny thing about the second incursion of the French into Mexico, which is what that whole war that led to the Battle of Puebla was called. It's like literally like, I think it's like the Franco-Mexican War, but they also call it like the second French incursion into Mexico, which means there was a first. Yay! The 1800s were just full of meddling in other people's business, wasn't it? And the whole reason why they were fighting against the French anyways is because Benito Juarez was like, you know, we borrowed some money from you guys, like the Spanish and the British and the French. And then he said, you know what, we're gonna take a quick pause for 2 years on this loan money, and we're just not gonna pay you interest for 2 years. And so, you know, then the Napoleonic Empire of France was like, hey, we're gonna put, actually, we don't like that. We want our money, and more so, we're actually gonna try to go in there and install our monarch on your government so we can steal all your stuff. You know, the normal colonial jam. And so obviously the Mexicans not like that, and they fought back. It always has to do with somebody owing somebody else money. It's always what it is. So that's why we get to drink a lot of tequila and mezcal on May 5th, because the French were like, we want our money. Actually, not only are we gonna go and fight you for that money, we're gonna try to take you over. So context is fun, but thankfully, under the leadership of General Ignacio Zaragoza, the less than well-equipped Mexican army as compared to the French army, which was a professional army at the time, they won. They won this particular battle. They ended up like losing that whole war, I think, but they did not do very well in the other battles. But this was like a huge deal because they won this, and the odds were very bad. But they did. They won it, so we celebrate it. So now we move on to lime juice. So this is gonna add a little bit more tartness to that sweetness of the grapefruit. And so we are gonna put an ounce of fresh lime juice right in here. If you'd like to know though, the actual Mexican Independence Day is September 16th. And again, I said 1810. And the reason why it's September 16th is because on that day, a Catholic priest went out and he rang this big bell at his, it was like La Catedral de Dolores or something. And they call it the Cry of Dolores, which is like El Grito de Dolores. So, but it was a bell, so no one was screaming. And that's what marked the beginning of the Mexican War of Independence against the Spanish, which they won, so that was good. That's why that's Independence Day, right? So then we're gonna pop in half an ounce of our rich simple syrup. Alrighty, I feel like I really need a drink today. Woo! La Paloma, which also, well, I have the birds, I know, they're parrots. These are not doves, but they, that's why the boys, that's why I have these on. La Paloma has also been called like a working man's drink, and I think that's because you can make it with jarritos, which are like super available, and it's just like tequila, grapefruit, but I don't know why grapefruit, so anyways, toronja. That's your word today in Spanish, toronja, which sometimes I get mixed up with tocino, which is bacon, which they are not the same. Anyways, so we have our mezcal, 2 ounces, grapefruit juice, 2.5 ounces, lime juice, 1 ounce, rich simple syrup, 1/2 ounce. What are we gonna do? We're gonna shake it with some ice. Now you can also add, you can make it spicy if you want by either using an infused jalapeno or other pepper tequila or mezcal, which you can make on your own. Or you can just cut up a couple of little coins of this and muddle gently in here and shake and then strain. That's totally an option. So let's pop some ice in here. So back in 1862, I'll tell you after I've done this. Ooh, lots of ice. Get it nice and cold. Yeah. So back in 1810, when these, or I'm sorry, not 1810, 1862, when the Battle of Puebla happened. So a lot of times we would think that, oh, well, the US had this whole Monroe Doctrine thing happening saying, Europe can't colonize in this area. This is our sphere of influence, which is the Western Hemisphere, AKA the Americas. But in 1862, as many of you will recall, there was like another thing going on here called the Civil War. So we were like a little bit busy with that. That's why we didn't have anything to do with this. But the nuttiest part is 45,000 people died because Benito Juarez was like, we're not gonna pay you interest for 2 years. The world is a crazy place. So you can rim this or not. I'm gonna rim this with a combination of sea salt and this rad chili lime spice mix. It's very similar to Tajin, if you know Tajin or have Tajin from Trader Joe's, because I impulse buy all the spice blends at Trader Joe's. So we have a glass, and we're gonna do this in a big globe glass because it's gonna be ice, it's beautiful. And then I have this amazing acacia wood rimmer, which it's super light and it's water resistant. You can wash it, just don't dishwash it because then it'll be destroyed. And you can use a plate or other things, but if you really like rimming cocktails, this actually does make it really easy, and it's easy to store. And I'll put a code for a discount in my profile, so you can link to that. Cork and Mill is actually really awesome. It's where I get my mixing glass from too. They have this like $35, $40 like kit of all of the basics. You can get it has a Hawthorne strainer, it has this, it has a shot glass, it's got the picks. It's got a lot of stuff in it, and it's great if you're just starting out. It's what I actually did. So I have a discount code for that also in my profile. So I was like, link in profile. So yeah, so we're gonna take our glass and we're gonna take a little bit of lime, and we're going to spread the lime around the rim like this, and also get it everywhere. And then we're gonna pop it right into our rimmer. And then you can also kind of get some along the edges if you want. Now, if you want to do like that fancy thing where you do like it along the big edge, you can do that like on a plate, but you can also just pull it down here, and that works really well too. Sweet. Lovely. All right, so I'm gonna put 2 big ice cubes in here. 1, 2, And then I'm going to strain this into my glass. Then I'm gonna top it with about 2 or 3 ounces of soda water. And this is not a jigger. Can you tell I need a drink? I've had one of those days, just one of those days, just one of those crazy days. I know that's not the right lyrics, but. Spoon, go in. This is 3 ounces of soda water. Because remember, this is supposed to be made with, or traditionally it's made with like a fresca or a jarritos. I know fresca is just fresca. It's made by the Coca-Cola company, but it's delicious. With a carbonated soda. So I just add a little bit of the plain soda water because it's much cleaner. And so you're just going to use your spoon to make sure it mixes nicely. Now, then honestly, I'm just gonna take the rest of this lime and just kind of like spritz it across the top because I had more juice in there and I didn't want to waste it. And that way, so when you like actually first take a sip, you're going to get that nice lime flavor. So then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your lime wheel and you're gonna slice a little hole in it, just like this. And you're gonna garnish with your lime wheel. So, Viva General Ignacio Zaragoza. To your victory, sir. And thank you for allowing me to dedicate this day to drinking all of the amazing things from Mexico. Cheers, everyone. Have a healthy, safe, and happy Cinco de Mayo, wherever you may be.